today we're diving deep into one of the simplest and smartest ways to build your wealth long term, which is investing into the S&P 500. Now, of course, this is not investing advice. With everything that's going on in the world right now, from Trump dramas, economic fears, global tensions, the markets have been shaken a bit and the S&P 500 took a hit too. But honestly speaking, that might just make it a very interesting time to invest now. Not because we're trying to time the market, but because when great assets go on sale, that's when long-term investors quietly step in. So in this video, I'll walk you through everything what the S&P 500 is, why it matters, and how to invest in it. Whether you're in the US or living abroad, which ETFs I personally prefer, and how to actually buy them using platforms like Interactive Brokers, Trading212, or eToro. But first things first, what is the S&P 500? It's basically an index made up of the 500 largest and publicly traded companies in the United States. Companies like you see over here, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Alphabet. And you're not just investing into any one of those companies or even 10. You're investing into the entire slice of the US economy. All of those companies you see over here. So these 500 companies are weighted by market cap, meaning the bigger the company, the bigger the slice in the index. So yes, Apple and Microsoft carry a way higher weighting than, for example, Pepsi or Coca-Cola, which are also part of the index. Best of all, over the past several decades, the S&P 500 has returned roughly 10% per year on average. Some years are down, some years are wildly up, but over time, it's been one of the most reliable ways to grow your wealth. And that's even what the great Warren Buffett recommends for most investors. In fact, he famously said that if he was to leave money to his family, he would put all of it in a low-cost S&P 500 ETF and just let it grow over time. And why might right now be a good time to actually invest into S&P 500, but a lot of people actually stay away from it? Well, we've seen quite a bit of correction going on in the markets since the beginning of the year, down 3.3%, which is really nothing unusual, but it might actually present a good buying opportunity. Historically, every time the market has dipped, it's eventually recovered and moved even higher. That doesn't mean it's a guarantee, but it's a long-term pattern. You're not buying the S&P 500 to make a quick buck, right? You're really buying it to participate in the long-term growth of the biggest companies in America, many of which are global players. So naturally, you're quite diversified on a global scale, not just focused on America. If you're investing with a long-term time horizon for 5, 10, 20, 30 years and beyond, you're really investing not for this week or this month, you're investing for your future self. And right now, you actually might be getting a very nice discount on your investments long term. Now, let's talk logistics, because how you invest in the S&P 500 actually depends on where you live. If you're watching this from America, well, it's very simple for you. You just open a brokerage account and you buy ETF like VOO. In fact, I would actually really recommend VOO because they're not only right now the cheapest ETF out there, 0.03% expense ratio. We'll come to this a little bit later. But right now, also the biggest one in the world, the biggest S&P 500 ETF, mimicking the S&P 500 index. And that happened not so long ago when VOO took over from SPY, from State Street. VOO is from Vanguard. They are now the biggest in terms of assets under management, meaning how much money flows into that. And that's obviously because they recently lowered their fees. Previously, it was much higher, but it makes sense to go with the cheapest one. And now you reap the benefits as an investor into VOO. It's low cost, highly liquid, and tracks the index perfectly. So if you're from the US, honestly, just go ahead, dollar cost average into VOO over time, and you'll be good to go. But what if you're not American? That's where things get a little bit more complicated, and you have to really look for the right ETF that fits your needs. While some stockbrokers will allow you to buy VOO, even though you're not a US citizen, it's really usually not the recommended way to go about it. As a non-US investor, buying US domiciled ETFs like VOO can really expose you to US estate tax. If you die, for example, with more than $60,000 in US assets, the IRS might want a piece of that, up to 40%, which you will have to pay, or your inheritance, in taxes over there. So in order to avoid that, many investors use something called UCITS ETFs. These are European regulated ETFs that track the same indexes, but are domiciled in Ireland or Luxembourg, and they're also available for investors outside Europe. A lot of people in the Middle East, in the UAE, where I'm living right now, are also able to invest into those UCITS ETFs. And moreover, they are also benefiting from tax treaty between Ireland and the US, which reduces the dividend withholding tax from 30% down to 15%. And that's why I personally also prefer investing into UCITS ETFs. Right, with this, let's head over to justetf.com. Amazing resource that you can use totally free of charge. And here we're just gonna go and look for S&P 500, type it in over there, and you will see over here S&P 500 ETF in comparison. And here you'll find different ETFs because trust me, there are so many out there and sometimes a little bit overwhelming, especially when you see all those long names. But worry not, we'll dive into this, into which one might be the most suitable for you. And you can sort by different ETFs, right? You can look for the biggest one by the best ETF that tracks it the most closely in terms of deviation from the index. We can have the largest by fund size and we can have the cheapest, which has the lowest expense ratio. I usually prefer a combination of all three of them, but in this very example, as we compared VOO, which is the cheapest one out there in the US right now, I also want to go for the cheapest one in Europe and other places, in which case we would go with the SPDR 500 UCITS ETF. And you can see both of them are equally low at 0.03%, which is really attractive. And here we start having the first choice where you have a difference of the two names. You have distributing and accumulating. And a lot of people get confused. What's the difference? In very simple terms, accumulating reinvests dividends and distributing pays them out. I personally prefer distributing because I like the feeling of getting paid, but ultimately it comes down to tax preferences of your country. Some countries have tax advantages for one over the other. So either ask a tax advisor about it or just jump on ChatGPT and ask it which one might be better based on the country where I'm in. In my case, there's no difference since I'm based in the UAE. So it really doesn't matter. And as I said, I like the feeling of getting paid. And again, there is no right or wrong. If there was one best way to invest, everybody would be going for it. But you can see both of them are obviously very popular. Right, so in this example, let's open up the SPDR S&P 500 UCITS distributing. Right, and here we see the TER. So that's the expense ratio. Basically, you don't pay that. That is taken out from your returns, right? So if you, let's say, earn 10%, you would technically only earn 9.97% because the rest is for the management fee. But trust me, 0.03% is very attractive. I've seen companies in Europe and other parts of the world that sell you the easy way to invest in the S&P 500 with them, with their services. Basically, they also mimic the S&P 500 index, same as such ETF would do. But I've seen fund manager charging 1%, even 1.5%, which is absolutely crazy. And 0.03 really is very attractive. Just to give you a quick example, if you head over to matchmybroker.com, they have an ETF fee calculator. I leave a link down in the description below. It's free of charge. Just plug in your numbers over here. Basically, everything is the same. The only difference is the ETF fee percentage. Instead of 0.03 at 0.07. Seems very minimal, right? But over a 30-year period, that's a difference of 22,000 euros that you would have more with the lower priced ETF than with the more expensive one. And obviously, the higher I go over here, if I compare it to some ETFs that have a fee of 0.2%, you see all of a sudden it's a difference of 51,000 euros that you have less in returns by investing into more expensive ETF. So that's just something to keep in mind there as well. Distribution policy we spoke about, in this case, is distributing. Otherwise, it could be accumulating. And the difference is basically the dividends. See over here, the dividends right now on the S&P 500 is not really that high because some of the companies in the index, they pay dividends, some of them don't. Right now, it's 1.12%. So you can imagine even on a $1 million or euro portfolio, that would be around $11,000 or euros in a year in terms of dividends, right? On that, you might still have to pay, income tax. So it really is difficult to live off dividends for the S&P 500, but we're not investing for dividends. We invest for total returns if you were to invest into the S&P 500. Replication, basically it means that the ETF provider, in this case, State Street over here, you can see that, is actually buying the real underlying share. So for example, some of the holdings include Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft. So that ETF provider is actually going out and buying the real shares in those companies. For me, that's really important and assuring to note. And fund size, of course, also something to always look at. If the fund size is too small, you might run the risk of that ETF being discontinued. Then they sell your shares and then you have to reinvest somewhere else. So you always want to have a big fund size. Now, 10 billion is obviously not the biggest one. We've seen other ones with 80 billion in Europe, but definitely 10 billion is also nothing to be laughed at. And I think they're definitely doing well. And State Street overall is one of the bigger ETF providers in the world, together with Vanguard and BlackRock. So I feel very comfortable with them. And yeah, if we go down over here, we see obviously the charts that you can also compare to other ETFs if you wanted to. For example, some popular ones like MSCI World, some global all-world ETFs. So you can do that. But obviously, if you're watching this video, you maybe already have an idea that you're wanting to invest into the S&P 500 and done your homework about it. You see the holdings over here. So as I've shown you before, this is basically based on weighting. And you can see right now, the 10 biggest holdings represent 37% of the entire index. So really, if Apple, Nvidia, and Microsoft have a cough, the whole S&P 500 will catch a cold because they have such a huge weighting inside the index. For better or for worse, it is what it is. I personally like that they have a strong focus on technology. It wasn't always this case, but since tech has done so well over the years, technology obviously inside the S&P 500 has gained an increasing bigger role, which 20 years ago was much less. You had much more of the other sectors represented in there. But still, overall, nice diversification across different sectors and industries. And lastly, I want to click on stock exchange to see where you can buy that particular ETF, right? Because not all stockbrokers support all the various ETFs and not in all the currencies. As you can see over here, I can buy the same ETF, S&P 500 ETF, in dollars, in euros, in pounds, in Swiss francs. So you have so many different options on different stock exchanges as well. And that's why I really like this page, because it will tell you all the various ticker symbols that you should be looking for. And from here, basically, you just want to decide which currency you want to invest in. And that's also very important, right? You want to invest into a currency that you mostly transact in, right? If you mostly earn in euros and spend in euros and see your life living in Europe, well, why then would you want to exchange to dollars, invest in dollars? Because then you're going to have the currency exchange risks. You pay currency conversion fees. So it really doesn't make sense, right? I live between Europe and the UAE. I earn most of my money now in dollars. So it makes sense for me to invest in dollars. But if I was to live in Europe and not planning to leave, well, then it would probably make sense to buy the same ETF somewhere in the German stock exchange in euros, and I would go with that. So that's something you have to decide for yourself. But the great thing is you do have options depending on where you live. Right, with this, let me show you how easy it is to actually buy an S&P 500 ETF on various stockbrokers. Starting off with Interactive Brokers, which is probably one of my favorite stockbrokers out there. And all you have to do, once you open your account, you go over here to search. Once you've chosen one of those over here, I can see the ticker symbol is SPY5. So I go back over here, SPY5, and then I will see a couple of different options coming up. And yeah, this can be a little bit overwhelming at first. On Interactive Brokers, you have basically 3 different options. IBIS2 is basically standing for Frankfurt. So if I go into this, you will see over here the German flag. And of course, it's also listed in euros. So in case I wanted to buy it in dollars, that would not be the best option for me. So in this case, I would go back, once again, pull up SPY5. And then I see also over here EBS, and that's in Swiss francs. So that could be an option. And then I see the third one, LSEETF. So that's basically the one in London. And that's based in dollars. You see over here the UK flag, and that is listed in dollars. And that's the one I want because, as I said, I earn in dollars, so I want to invest in dollars. And then I would just obviously go through the motion, buy, say how much I want to buy, as simple as that. And I've done a number of videos around Interactive Brokers. You'll find it on my channel. If you're new to Interactive Brokers, but definitely stockbroker, I can recommend. Jumping over to Trading 212, another one of my favorite brokers that I use. As you can see, I already own some S&P 500 ETF in here, but let's imagine I didn't. I would just go up here again, put SPY5, see what is being pulled up. And once again, you have 3 options. And in a way, I like it more because you can see here where the exchange is, right? It shows you London Stock Exchange, German Stock Exchange, and Swiss one. So it makes it a bit easier to know which one is which. In case you're watching from Switzerland, good all, you could just go in here and basically you could buy the same in Swiss francs. So you have so many options available. And yeah, Trade 212 is probably one of the easiest ones to make your first purchase of an S&P 500 ETF. And in case you're new to Trading 212, you can use my link down in the description below to open an account and get a free share valued up to 100 euros or pounds if you open an account with my link. And with this, let's jump over to my third and final broker that I use personally for myself mostly, which is eToro. And same procedure over here. Just go to search, put in SPY5, and you will have only one option. As I said to you before, not all of them have all the options. In this case, you only have one option available, which is the one in London. You see that by the .L means London Stock Exchange, but is one in dollars. And that's actually the one I buy. If I go into my portfolio, you see over here, that's actually the one I already have in my portfolio, plus some NASDAQ 100 and Amazon shares. But I also want to remind, none of this is investing advice. I'm just sharing what works for me and how you can buy your first S&P 500 ETF if you wish to do so, but ultimately your money, your choices. Now, let's talk about one of the most underrated but powerful investing strategies, and that's called dollar cost averaging, or DCA. Basically, what it means is that you invest the same amount of money at regular intervals, no matter what the markets are doing, especially in the times we're in right now where it is very volatile. A lot of people stay away. That's actually the wrong thing to go about it. So instead of waiting for the perfect moment, you just set it and forget it. Buy every single month. And the cool thing is that over time, dollar cost averaging helps you to smooth out your purchase price. You buy some of it when it's high, you buy some of it when it's low. You avoid the stress of trying to time the market. And why I like the platforms that I've shown you before, all 3 of them let you automate recurring investments, which is really powerful. You set it and forget it, and then you don't have to think about it. Just make sure you have enough money in your brokerage, and then it will invest it either on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. Personally, I enjoy investing on a weekly basis. I just like the feeling of buying stocks regularly, and I like to follow the markets a little bit. Usually I buy on a Monday, but if on a Monday it's a very green day and the stocks are up, I'll wait for Tuesday or Wednesday. But worst case, on Friday, I will buy my shares just to have it and keep consistency. That's the most important, to consistently keep buying. In conclusion, buying the S&P 500, you're basically buying a slice of the biggest US companies out there. Recognize that the markets do dip, and this is normal. And sometimes they're really opportunities. If you're an American, go with VOO or SPY. It's an absolute no-brainer. If you're not American, use UCITS ETFs like the one I've shown you in this video. Make sure you find a brokerage that works for you and you have to feel comfortable with it. And lastly, make sure to put your investments on autopilot by setting up recurring investments. Because the most important thing is to stay consistent. The biggest gains often go to the most boring investors, the ones who bought an ETF, automated investments, and just went on with their life without following their emotions or crazy market news headlines. I hope this video gave you a clear and practical guide on how to invest in the S&P 500. If you want to go even deeper, I have another video that I'll link over here where I explain the S&P 500 in more detail, including the sector breakdown and performance history. Thanks for watching, stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!